Good afternoon and welcome, everybody. This would be the Jeff Cameron Show right here on it, 97.9 ESPN Radio. Almost coughed in the middle of that. That would have been odd. I'm Jeff, that's Tom. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you go to listen live via the streaming free. Always don't miss anything. If you do, all 3 hours posted every day. Upon the conclusion of the program, both on iTunes and in our own audio vault. Email the show if you want, jcs at 979ESPNradio.com. Find me on Twitter at JCameronShow. WTSM app works for your mobile devices. And we're on YouTube. Go there to watch us perform the show. Hello, YouTubers. Hope you're doing well. That much closer to the first game of the year, at least here in Tallahassee. The home opener, NC State at noon, and more as the hours go by, the days go by. I hear from those Florida State fans that are fretting, and I say, guys, for as bad as I felt about our prospects against Alabama, I feel that much better about our prospects against NC State. I think that Florida State is going to win this game comfortably. I've had a strong level of confidence, Tom, on the meter since, since the weekend kind of ended, as Sunday evening was winding down.
You know what's funny is I took the daily confidence level off of a particular spot on the board because I said, well, Miami's not for 2 weeks. We don't use it.
We don't need it, yeah. But when you start a freshman quarterback, you might need the daily confidence level.
The daily confidence level.
8.5. Woo. Maybe 9.
Now, this is fascinating because a peek behind the curtain, Tuesdays are your busiest day of the week, and it's not even close. And you're driving from the studios here to, War Chant 1, if you will, to do the Man Cave show
there,
in the studio. And you're telling me that you got up early this morning, against your will, 4 a.m., kind of forced awakened.
One of those nights.
Yeah.
I have them.
And you said you are the authority on all things NC State football. You have a greater understanding of where they were last year to where they are now and what they can and cannot do. So I find it fascinating that with all that said, you still believe that 8.5 and the confidence index, and you feel really, really good about this game because they do some good things.
NC State does do some good things, but they do them against bad teams. They do those things consistently well against bad teams, but against the good teams, they don't beat them. And you know what it did do? It did tell me that Doeren is a little snake bit. You know, I rip him a lot. Their season could have been very different a year ago. Obviously, if they hold on to an interception against Florida State, that would have been a hell of a nugget, would have been a hell of a win for the program. And then, of course, they have Clemson beat on the road. It's a chip shot field goal. So they were that close to having a season for the ages by NC State standards. If you would have knocked off Clemson and Florida State in the same campaign, my goodness, they'd have talked about that many moons from now. But, of course, they didn't, and they never do. It's always that, they were very close to pulling off that upset or getting this win. You know, what they do in Drinkwitz's system, he's a Gus Malzahn disciple. They create ways to get the ball to their playmakers. Interesting ways. I got to give him credit because when you don't have a plethora of guys, he's not going to sit back and just run a standard offense. Jalen Samuels is a nice player, and they use him in sort of an H-back role, Tom. It's not your traditional tailback or wide receiver or tight end. They move him all around, but it's kind of an H-back type role just to get the ball in his hands. They throw him the ball. He runs the ball. Hines has emerged as a running back this year. They needed a running back to emerge. He's become the guy. And Finley doesn't throw interceptions. In fact, he's on the cusp of breaking Jacoby Brissett's second-place record on the NC State record books for most consecutive passes without throwing an interception. You know who's first?
Russell Wilson.
That's right.
Yeah.
You know who? You know what else Russell Wilson is? Number 1 all time in consecutive passes in the NCAA without throwing an interception. Did you know that? It's over 300 and something passes he once threw.
Was that at 2 universities? Did it bleed over to Wisconsin, or was it all at NC State?
That I don't know, but I believe that was mostly at NC State, if not almost all at NC State. So they don't throw interceptions, but they also throw a lot of safe passes.
That means we're getting a pick this weekend at minimum 1. You know how those streaks are.
Well, I'll tell you this. He hasn't thrown one since he threw one against Miami November 19th, 2016. That was 192 attempts ago. He's due. That said, if you're going to do it, you're going to have to hop a route because they're not taking a lot of chances down the football field. They're going to throw the ball in a safe, high completion percentage, Tom, one of these offenses that you see, and thus it looks different. It looks almost gaudy. When you look at the numbers, you go, well, man, this kid is something else. No, not something else. He's playing in the right offense, but he runs it really well. And when you watch him, he's comfortable. He gets it. He knows what to check to. He's a smart quarterback, so he runs their system well. And remember, NC State is a team. The reason that if you were worried about this game, the first thing you'd be worried about is, well, we haven't played football in a while, and we're starting a true freshman quarterback. Fair enough. That's everybody's basic worry. But you would also look at NC State and say 16 of their 22 returning starters. That's what they got. I mean, they have 16 of 22 players coming back that started games last year. 8 on the offense, 8 on the defense. I'm worried less about their offense. Defensively, advanced metrics, traditional numbers, any way you want to look at it, top 15 rush defense. Big guys, senior laden. In that front seven, you're talking about almost all seniors. Got a junior in there at linebacker. You really only find some weakness on the back end of that defense where they had to replace 3 guys. So, that's my concern. But I also like the way Jimbo calls a game for young quarterbacks. And I also like the way that this team's going to play defense, I think, meaning Florida State all year long. I think NC State's going to find it tough sledding. So I don't think the race is to a big number. That certainly behooves a young quarterback.
Well, Florida State has 3 games of film on this NC State defense, and there's only 1 game of our film out there, and it doesn't even have our starting quarterback. So advantage Jimbo in that sense is almost like being in an opener. You get a double bye for NC State. It's bad news for NC State, you would think, at least in theory. We'll see. But I'm curious, as I'm trying to flesh out exactly why you believe so strongly that we're okay. Well, what's the race to? What's the number? What does the game look like? Is it a score fest for Florida State on offense, or does the offense do just enough and to win by 2 scores and we're punching our time card and we're moving on to the next?
Well, I think it's a punch your time card kind of game, and I think the race is to 20. I don't think Florida State's defense is going to give up more than 20 points. I wouldn't think that they give up more than 17 points. But I think you could win this game if you scored over 17 points, over 20 points. I'm kind of waffling there a little bit, but somewhere in that area. Here's the thing. I do think this game potentially, the way I see the game playing out, is that Florida State eventually pulls away and covers the number, which I think is 11 as of right now. I think they'll do that. And I think there's potential for Florida State to blow NC State out. I just don't. What I can't know is how does the kid handle the moment, and that is a really big can't know. It's one thing to say, yeah, I think we're going to lose the matchup over here. At defensive end against their left tackle. I don't think we're going to get a lot of pressure from that side. He's going to be a first-round pick, and you circle that matchup and you go, that's going to be a problem. We're going to have to generate pressure from somewhere else. You can work around that, and you can find ways that you still win the game comfortably and all that. When your quarterback play is something that you just can't know how a kid's going to play under the circumstances, it makes you nervous. So I'm taking an educated guess on that one because I think offensive line's going to play well. I think the defensive line's going to dominate for Florida State. I don't picture NC State making big plays in the passing game, so I like Florida State there too. So I get back to, and we'll leave special teams over here. That's another question altogether. But I come back to our quarterback, and I just tell you, I get the sense that the head coach on down to the players, veteran players who know better, I might add, than to hype a kid up, to put more pressure on a kid by going above and beyond in the realm of compliments. We've seen it from Florida State for a couple weeks now. They can't stop gushing over what this kid is. Is some of that the byproduct of wanting to instill confidence and know that you really got to boost him up so that he feels good about himself making his first ever start? Sure, some of it's got to be that. But, guys, when you're an elite level player and you're going against a guy in practice every day, I just don't think you offer up that kind of praise unless the kid has had some real wow moments, unless the kid has done some things that show to you, wow, he can really play. Now, what happens after he gets hit? Don't know. He's not getting hit in practice right now, so I don't know. But he throws the ball, and listen, I don't want to go overboard, but he throws a pretty ball. And he's a kid, again, that we think does some things in the passing game perhaps better than DeAndre Francois. Now, to be sure, there are things that DeAndre Francois does or would do if he were playing in this game that James Blackman wouldn't be able to do. So it goes both ways. But just purely in the passing game, if it's not this game, I think by season's end, we're going to be looking at some elements of what Florida State does in the passing game that are better than what we could have done with DeAndre Francois because of James Blackman's skill.
Well, I think what we can offer up is, in theory, if the kid is everything that the context clues say he is, then we're going to be A-okay. It's just it's a matter of the reality versus context. But when Jimbo says things like, he has great retention for lessons I tell him each day. He remembers it the next day.
Quick learner. He said that almost from the get-go.
Ira, an interview a couple weeks ago, said that Jimbo was excited because of the questions the kid was asking. Well, that's a big one for Jimbo specifically as a coach.
Goes back to when Ponder won the job, because you go all the way back to that time. I remember I asked Coach Fisher, one of those eye-opening moments in an interview I did with him, why Ponder? Nobody was even talking about Christian Ponder before you named him a starter. How did that happen? He asked all the right questions, Jeff. He asked me things that shows that you're understanding the concept. So if you want to use something similar to that, how about, quote-unquote, ball just makes sense to him?
Mm-hmm.
Well, there it is.
Yeah, he said that with you after the Alabama game as the Sunday, actually it was Monday morning interview that she actually did that first thing in the morning on Monday. But then also I look again at what Jimbo said yesterday, which is we threw the kitchen sink at him, over the course of a couple of weeks of practice with the blitzes. They brought everything they could at him just to see if he got flustered, and Jimbo said, I love the way he handled it. And he told us the truth with DeAndre Francois. He said he loved the way Francois handled the blitz. Sure, we'd love DeAndre to not take direct hits more often than not, and that was one of his foibles, is that he took a lot of direct hits.
Held the ball, waiting for things to develop because he's a tough SOB.
And if he was responsible for that rusher, he didn't care. He was going to stand in there for the extra second. But against the blitz, he really did find open receivers down the field and showed great poise. So here you go again with your head coach saying, this new kid, this true freshman, can handle pressure. We've thrown the kitchen sink at him, and I love the way he responded to it. Okay, if he's one of those, you fool me once, but you're not going to fool me 2 times kind of quarterbacks, Jimbo can most certainly work with that given his frame and his arm strength.
He's 6'5", man. Seeing things down the field. That's the one area that really, unfortunately, DeAndre struggled with. No fault of his own. It's not. That's genetics. He's not quite 6'1". What are you going to do with that? It's hard to see over the trees that now man the offensive line. You got a kid who's 6'5", throws a pretty ball, a lot of hand talent.
Now this is just an open-ended question because we don't see practice unless maybe you got some insight on this. But what do you think the offense is going to look like formationally? Do you think they're going to let him back in the shotgun more? Is it a pistol quarterback?
I don't know. I hope we see some pistol. I think you're going to need Jacques Patrick out there to help block it up. But I also want to see the more explosive elements of the run game that come from Cam Akers and Amir Rasul. So or Laybourne. Yeah. I listen. It's exciting to go to this game Saturday. Because as much as I can tell you about what I watched, and I did watch an awful lot of NC State starting at 4 o'clock this morning, and I did read an awful lot about what their inside people think. You can glean a lot from just the guys that cover a program on a day-to-day basis. And so I read their stuff and went back and watched some stuff from NC State. But, I haven't seen us. I don't know what has shifted, what has changed in terms of the philosophy and the view. Now, listen, Jim is going to run his offense, and I have a feeling he'll be a little bit more aggressive than people will give him credit for in a game like this. I think he will be. I think he has faith in this kid, and he wants to, more importantly, show that he has faith in this kid. And one of the ways you do that is you let him throw on first down. Jimbo's always been a quarterback-friendly coach. He's always been a guy, in terms of giving you leverage and giving you an opportunity to succeed from a down-distance standpoint. He believes throwing on first down is where the quarterback has the greatest advantage. And I agree, because defenses are forced to play you honest on first down. So he's going to get opportunities to throw the ball early in the game. I think the hidden element here might be, Tom, that maybe they run the ball better against an NC State defense that, statistically speaking, doesn't give up an awful lot of yardage. But you hinted at something that I believe is also true. I believe this offensive line's better than people are going to think that they're capable of. I know the Alabama game, it's a good first half, it's a bad second half. There were a lot of factors that led to that, but I thought by and large this group played a lot better than we had a right to expect them to going into the Alabama game. And that then plays nicely moving forward because you won't face another group that's as talented as Alabama is up front until you get to Clemson.
Yeah, there's no doubt. Again, I think if you committed to the run a little bit longer in that game, and I get it, flow the game, and we're down, special teams is killing us, whatever. With your younger, faster talent, there was something to be had there where you could achieve balance. But I get it, too, with Jacques Patrick and what he brings to the table from protection skills. You needed him on the field against what Alabama was going to bring, which was a whole lot of exotics. So I get where Jimbo was going with it. It just, I think by accident, when you put Cam in there as your change of pace, you found something. And so I think moving forward, the offensive line is going to be able to at least make some sort of initial surge that somebody who hits the hole hard is going to be able to take advantage of. And that's why I really think the sooner Cam becomes the featured guy or the running back who just gets the lion's share of carries, you're going to see production through the roof. And I went back, I pulled up last year's box score just to recall. Last year, the splits were this: 39 pass attempts against 24 runs with Dalvin Cook, and that's just stunning. And again, it wasn't until the fourth quarter that Dalvin finally started to find his groove. It was the talking point for the broadcast the entire time was, okay, this is the Dalvin Cook show. When's he going to break this record, that record? All ACC, he's climbing the charts for career rushing rank. Warwick Dunn's record, And we get to the fourth quarter, and he's only put up 2 yards a carry, but then he finally figures it out. So it could be a battle of time possession, too, because if you recall last year, NC State ran 82 plays, and Jimbo lamented it in his interview with you on Sunday. We never had the ball.
Well, and NC State does that. They are able to, with the short passing game, as long as they possess the football and complete those short passes, they'll hold on to the football. You got to tackle. You got to come up and tackle. But this group, I think, is equipped to do that. You got to come up, make plays, and get pressure on the quarterback once you get them to third down. And we'll see. I think they have an opportunity to do that. Last night, Detroit goes in, beats the Giants, couple touchdown win, sloppy game. Another one of those tough to digest NFL games that just don't move the needle like they should. You got offensive line problems again from a team. In the case of the Giants, they knew that coming into the season. Flowers in particular is an embarrassment. But you watch them play, and you got a quarterback that looks very old. You've got play calling questions. You got a Detroit team that didn't look great, but now there's Detroit at 2-0, and they're doing some things a little bit better than they did before. So there's that final game of the NFL weekend. Now you move on to the next slate. You try to find out what the intrigue is. And right now the intrigue for the league is kind of threefold. But one of the elements is that the narrative that has begun, and I knew it would because you're watching the games just as I'm watching the games, the product is not very good right now. The sneaky truth is it wasn't very good last year either. But people watch it. So I don't know if they're concerned about it or not. But the games themselves, 9-3, 12-9, there's a lot of games out there this weekend that sucked. And offensive line issues are a plague in this league.
Yeah, you look around the league and you find, 5 to 8 teams, depending upon the week, where you go, that's a have. They're a have team, and the rest are have-nots. Mm-hmm. The fun thing is you got a team in Tampa Bay that I believe to be a have. I get it. It's Chicago. I get it.
Sure.
And you're doing what you're supposed to do.
And you're going to feast against a team that has limited weapons.
And they weren't killer in situations either. They were fine in situations, but they could have come away with a lot more points than 29.
Sure.
That's about as few points as they could have scored, even before they brought Fitzpatrick in and played the second string.
Sure, but I also feel like the onslaught of points and turnovers that happened early remedied that game, sort of foregone conclusion from about midway point of the second quarter. It's awfully hard when you lose intensity. Both sides knew the game was over. And it looked like both teams were just going through the motions. Now, you have some sloppy elements to that, but there's no intensity to that game once the pick six occurs. It is over. We're done playing here. You're not coming back. You know it, and I know it. You don't have weapons on the outside, and I think you just got people going through the motions.
I go back to the first drive of the preseason. Yes, the preseason where the Bucs are playing the Bengals, and I just recall the Bucs going down the field, and when Jameis drops back, there's no pressure because you have to cover all these targets, so you can't bring a whole lot of blitzes. He's already great against the blitz, so you're not going to challenge him with a 6 or 7 man pressure scheme. And he has a choice. It's just amazing what it looks like when offenses have that many weapons that it's effortless versus an offense where you have to really work for every yard you gain. And
it's hard to watch as a viewer.
Last night for stretches, those two teams had to work for every single yard.
No, you're exactly right. It felt that way, didn't it? Yeah, a little frustrating to watch. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
You put your mower through a lot. All that back and forth can add up to thousands of miles. That's like mowing cross country. Gravely commercial mowers are built for all-day performance, helping you get the job done mile after mile. Gravely, built to mow the distance.
Get your Gravely motor only at TNT Supercenter, your one-stop shop for work or play. 14585 Highway 19 South, Thomasville, Georgia. TNTSupercenter.com.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck, always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Wait, what was I saying? Oh yeah, that's why Sport Clips is Sport Clips. They make a haircut memorable, but with as little thought required from us as possible. A great MVP haircut experience with a hot steam towel, massaging shampoo, and sweet, sweet sports on TV. So if that man in the mirror looks like an island castaway, or just has some hair that needs attention, well, you've got this solved because you know Sport Clips. And if you're already looking Sport Clips handsome, well played, sir. Well played.
Sport Clips haircuts. Find a location near you at sportclips.com.
Attention investors, protect your IRA or 401k by storing your retirement at home with an Augusta Home Delivery Gold IRA. Call Augusta today at 888-852-4788 for a free guide on transferring a portion of your IRA or 401k into approved physical gold and silver coins and store them in your safe at home or at your local bank. Call 888-852-4788 today and discover how you can get up to $2,000 in silver free. Call 888-852-4788. That's 888-852-4788.
Barry knows cool, he's keeping you comfortable. Barry knows cool, you can put him to the test.
Don't let Tallahassee's hot summers get you down. Barano Heating and Air Conditioning can help in case of a breakdown, day or night. Their certified technicians can get you up and running in no time. Turn to the experts at Carrier and at Barano Heating and Air. Call 580-4029 or visit baranoac.com. Florida license number CAC 057652.
The coast is here. Wharf Casual Seafood is a family-friendly restaurant serving high-quality fresh seafood at a great value since 1986. Wharf Casual Seafood's philosophy is that seafood can be affordable, fast, and top-notch quality all at the same time. No one brings families together like Wharf Casual Seafood. Visit their Tallahassee locations on Bannerman Crossing and the newly opened Mahan location at the Costco shopping area. Open 7 days a week. Visit wharfcasualseafood.com for more information or to order online. No need to drive when the coast is here.
The big game is almost here, but you can't afford to go because ticket prices are through the roof. Don't worry, we got your back. Anytix.com offers you the lowest price tickets, guaranteed. Anytix.com doesn't mark up tickets. Anytix.com has zero. That's right, no buyer, seller, or service fees. For a small monthly fee of $9.99, you get access to all their wholesale tickets. Go to Anytix.com today. That's Anytix, T-I-X-X. Enter the coupon code ESPN Tally and get 20% off your subscription. Anytix.com, changing the way you buy tickets.
Woohoo! Banditos!
Huh? Where?
Banditos Burritos, baby.
You're listening to the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
You can take NC State, Tom. I'll take Florida State and give the points.
It's up to 12 already. You see that?
Yeah, because people are looking at what I'm looking at. They're going, Florida State's going to beat that ass.
That's already your lock of the week.
It's
so
my lock of the week.
We can't do
I'll
that.
double down. All right. Well, I don't feel compelled by any of these games. This is a sorry week.
It is.
there is a weird matchup. Two very disparate places that you would never suspect. I mean, it's kind of a culture clash, I would think, for the fans that are going to this game. Wyoming is playing Hawaii. It's like foreign lands.
Yeah.
I mean, how odd would that be?
Under the same banner.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Like, oh.
Should be two anthems in this game.
What do you guys do? I don't know. What do you do? Ooh.
Nothing. Sit by the waves.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Nothing. Sit by the stream.
Mountains, yeah. We do a lot of fishing. Open prairies.
I like you.
I like you. I think we could be friends. I do too. Let's watch some football. Want to get high? I could picture both those sides saying
Don't
that.
forget to bring a towel.
So Wyoming, Hawaii, I don't know. Yeah, well, Mississippi State, Georgia's the game, right?
Yeah, I'll take either side, really. It's just I'm not going to feel good about either side.
I don't like it. I feel like I'm being forced to gamble in a way I don't like. I don't like either one of those teams in this game. I can't make a good argument. Well, I can. That's the problem. I can make an argument for both teams, and I don't like that. That's why I don't bet those games.
But I can say, I'm looking at you right now, honestly. I don't have any feeling one way or the other.
I
I'm trying
don't
to get
either.
over on
I
you.
don't have a feeling either. I have a feeling that I don't have a feeling, and therefore I don't want to touch it. I don't know. We're going to have to find another game, and I know that time is of the essence.
Time is of the essence indeed.
I don't know. Hey, you know what we didn't get a chance to talk about? We'll work this out during the break. On-air segments are not the time to figure out our wagers with the Man Cave show tonight. But it got overlooked. Kansas lost to Ohio.
Oh, they did.
Convincingly.
Mm-hmm.
They are now close to breaking a record all time. I mean, it's crazy. Mark Mangino, by the way, stood in the middle of the circle as the chant started. Teammates locked arms while swaying side to side, repeating Rock, Chalk, Jayhawk, KU, in a tradition that always seems more satisfying in an opponent's locker room. I know we haven't done it in a while, said one of their players. His words are true, even if they're painful to hear him say. And anyhow, they went on to say that the last road win, 34-7, 2009, over UTEP, at a time before the iPad.
UTEP in 2009.
And they're still, that's the one they're touting. That was their last road win, the start of a tailspin that has now extended to 41 losses in a row away from Memorial Stadium. It is hard to fathom. They had that 11 a.m. kick against Ohio, and it appeared to be the most winnable game of the bunch, but instead the streak went to 42. Can you imagine? I guess it's just easier. I mean, that's a Power 5 conference team. That's a team that under Mark Mangino went to the damn Orange Bowl.
Yes, it did. One of the great photos you'll ever see. It's actually the avatar photo for the Le Batard show.
It's remarkable. I mean, that is really something crazy. The Jayhawks' road losing streak, according to College Football Reference, is second all-time to Western Colorado State, which lost 44 straight road games between 1926 and 1936.
So you're saying that history is about to be set this year?
Yes.
It's going to be changed.
An AP article from Western State's streak-ending victory over Colorado College in 1937 praised the team for packing a scoring punch when they won the game 7-3. Different time indeed. The game-winning touchdown came on a double pass from a fake field goal.
Really?
Yeah. So
that's something that Les Miles would call.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. But so there they are. That's where Kansas is on the cusp of setting a rather dubious record. You should know they did lose to Ohio. That appeared to be the most winnable game they would have on the road this year. And they were thoroughly outplayed. I mean, they weren't any good at all.
So after Florida won that game on the Hail Mary, do you feel worse about Kentucky's chances of changing history and then breaking the streak?
So when I was going through the slate of games this week and I was looking back at last week, because we're at that in-between stage on a Tuesday, right when you're about to move ahead with your week and look at the upcoming run, I was thinking back on the weekend that was, and we talked about it yesterday on the program with the Texas Southern Cal game, and we talked about some of the other matchups, Clemson's thorough domination of Louisville and how good that defensive line looked and how competent that team looks yet again, despite losing an awful lot of talent, and the frustration that I'm starting to feel now that rivalry is going to get elevated in a way that we thought we'd be responsible for, but maybe Clemson is going to be responsible for. I mean, after the thorough throttling of Clemson at night for the nation to view, the depantsing of the Tigers that took place while you and I were on the field, the embarrassing loss that Clemson felt at the hands of Florida State, we thought soon those fans will not be so welcoming to us in this rivalry, always noted as good fans and one of the better programs and traditions in college football, certainly in the ACC, is Clemson. I thought, they're going to get downright sick of us. We've owned the rivalry, still do, the all-time record. Basically, since we've joined the conference, we've told Clemson to limber up. But the thing of it is, I could not have predicted they'd stop their Clemsoning ways, start winning and winning big, go to back-to-back national championship games, vanquish the likes of Ohio State and Alabama and others on their way to winning said national championship, and then have the recruiting prowess to come back the following year after having lost all those players and put themselves in a position to perhaps, and we're looking too far ahead here, beat us 3 times in a row and cement their place as a thoroughly dominant team in the ACC that is a step above Florida State University. But that appears to be where we're at currently. So I do think that rivalry is going to begin to shift to an uglier one. It's only once one of the fan bases feels put out that things change.
I think if we had won in 2015 up in their building, I think it might have turned nasty on their end.
Because they would have thought, are you kidding me? With that freaking guy, you come in here and win?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And when Dalvin went down the field, scored the first drive, we thought, wait a minute, what do we have here?
Yeah. Well, there's some demons there. Like you said, there's some cobwebs out there that they stumble into from time to time.
But if you've drawn this up with the Miami rivalry, obviously, as we're trying to get to the Platinum
Bohica, sure.
But if you look at it, if Clemson holds serve this year in their building, then all of a sudden next year they have a young quarterback they like, and maybe it's not Kelly Bryant coming down to Tallahassee next season.
Mm-hmm.
We like what we have, perhaps, here in the true freshman, James Blackman.
Getting it on then, but you're losing a lot of defense after
You're
this year.
losing a lot on defense, a lot, including the best player on defense in the country in Derwin James.
What was the original question that led me to go on my diatribe about Clemson?
The original question was, do you feel worse about Kentucky's chances of, altering history? Yes.
Okay, so I say all that with streaks and all those things is that you don't bet against a streak, first of all. So there's that, okay? I don't want to bet against Florida's streak of winning 114 straight over Kentucky. And secondly, I don't think Florida's any good. But I told you before the year began that you and I were on different sides of that wager, that I thought they'd get to the 8 wins. I thought maybe even 9 because their schedule's weak. The Tennessee game was pretty critical in that equation.
Yeah, it was.
So that win buoys the mighty Gators, and I think they roll on to get that 8-win season under their belt. And the smoke and mirrors continues because McElwain, all he does is beat SEC foes, Tom. That's all he does. Steady beating SEC foes. He'll get another big win over another SEC foe this weekend as Florida will knock down Kentucky. In actuality, what is it, 36 straight times?
So, yeah, you're not going to want to wager on that one?
Sure, you can have Kentucky.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that'll be the one. Then I'll take Florida. You want Kentucky?
I'll have to think about it.
Well, come on. You sounded almost a sense of bravado there is where you were going with the conversation.
If Kentucky got the job done, that would put Florida back on track.
For your wager, yeah. So that's logically, this is our game. Sounds like it's our Lone Star.
I don't know about Lone Star, but it's our man cave wager.
It's our man cave wager. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
You can tell a lot about a tractor by its warranty. That's why Mahindra makes the toughest tractors on earth. with steel, not plastic. Backed by the industry's best limited powertrain warranty, period. Not 5 years, not 6 years, but a full 7 years on select models. No wonder the other guys are green with envy.
No money down, 0% interest, and no payments until July. Available at TNT Supercenter.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck. Always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Related to allegedly defective Takata airbags in their vehicles. To see if your vehicle is included and to file a claim, go to AutoAirbagSettlement.com or call 1-888-735-5596. That's AutoAirbagSettlement.com or 1-888-735-5596.
Beef O'Brady's Burgers across America with Des Moines Triple Bacon, Green Bay's 5 Cheeser, or the Memphis Love Me Tender. All made with premium blend Angus. Pick any two for just $17. Beefs, bet your Angus it's good.
Brent, this month's topic is classic song lyrics. You ready?
Ready as I'll ever be.
Here's a lyric. American history, practical math. You study them hard and hoping to pass.
It's from School Days by the great Chuck Berry. He wrote and recorded so many great hits.
You mean like TNT Supercenter sells and services so many top golf cart brands with an enormous selection all under one roof?
TNT Supercenter customers can compare the top golf cart brands side by side. Club Car, Yamaha, Star EV, and the ultimate hunting vehicle to beat. TNT Supercenter has the largest selection of carts in the area. Pre-owned carts starting at just $19.99. New carts with a 4-year warranty starting at just $49.99. And at TNT, our service center and service technicians are trained, certified, and authorized for every brand we sell.
And there's plenty of parts and accessories too, right?
Our parts inventory is huge, and we'll dress up your existing cart with a full line of Mad Jack's premium accessory products like seat kits, light kits, lift kits, and now for a limited time, save 20% on all Mad Jack's parts and accessories.
TNT Supercenter, US 19 South, next to Dairy Queen in Thomasville, and online at TNTSupercenter.com.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit beefy, or even with type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Affordable term life insurance is out there. Call Term Provider and speak with Big Lou at 800-481-1458. 800-481-1458 or visit biglou.com. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too.
Wow, this is great. E+.
E+? Is that like A+?
It's better. The E stands for easy.
Easy Plus?
Yep. Easy ways to save energy, water, and money from the City of Tallahassee Utilities. Your own utilities. The City of Tallahassee Utilities has created easy ways to monitor your account with E+ online. We can pay online, we can check our balance online, compare usage history online, and even take a free online energy audit.
And I see the City of Tallahassee Utilities has created a new smart bill. Once we enroll, we do everything online. Billing, paying, everything. What a time saver. Not to mention saving energy, water, and money.
And when we download the City of Tallahassee Utilities Digitally smartphone app, we can do everything on our phone. Pretty incredible.
Plus, there are new authorized payment locations, like some local gas stations, grocery stores, other city departments, and more.
We can even go to the Renaissance Center at 435 North Macomb Street to pay our bill.
Wow. The E really does stand for easy, doesn't it?
It sure does. E+ from the City of Tallahassee Utilities. Your own utilities.
Seminole Headlines, presented by Capital City Bank. You're damn right. Catch Jeff Corey and Ira each Tuesday night from 5 to 7 p.m. right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio. ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi. This is what you need to know. Giants quarterback Eli Manning publicly called out by his coach, Ben McAdoo, following the Monday Night Football loss to the Lions. McAdoo said New York's comeback was derailed by sloppy quarterback play near the goal line in the third quarter. One day after Cowboys coach Jason Garrett said he'll meet with running back Ezekiel Elliott to discuss his lack of effort in 2 plays in Sunday's loss. Owner Jerry Jones did not single out Elliott. Jones on 105.3 The Fan in Dallas said he thought you can point to Elliott, but you need to look at the general effort of most people on the field. NBA, the Bulls hired former coach Doug Collins as a senior advisor of basketball operations.
Experience why for nearly a century men have trusted Barbasol for a close, comfortable shave. Whether it's extra moisturizing with vitamin E or soothing aloe, all you have to do is sit back and bask in the glory of your close shave. You're looking good, America. You're shaving with Barbasol.
Live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Lawn Maintenance Tuesday, presented by Miller's Tree Service. Call Miller's today at 894-TREE. That's 894-8733.
Say there are no good games this weekend. By the way, is this a... You should inform me before I offend a advertiser. Big Lou is who?
Big Lou.
He's on meds too.
Big Lou is on meds too.
You didn't listen to the commercials? That can't be local.
No, I didn't listen to that commercial break. Sorry.
Remember to call in. Big Lou is like you. He's on meds too. It's a ludicrous commercial that we run all the time. It was just on in the last break. Sure, it was shipped up from the coast.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it's garbage. Anyhow, that said, it's
okay.
It's ridiculous because it kind of speaks to an overriding problem. They're like, hey, if you're drug addled just like this fat loser Lou, just remember, call this number. It's all right. Lou's like you. He's addicted to drugs too.
All right, touchdown Cowboys.
There you go. That's what you should know. I'll let you know that there are a little bit more in the way of good football games than I thought. Going through it, me and the intern were just talking, and I had overlooked some things. Might Southern Cal be a good football game, Tom Lang? Maybe, given what we just saw with Southern Cal, right?
Yeah, they qualify in the two fingers to my eyes.
Two fingers back to you.
Yeah.
And TCU Oklahoma State is a good game, legitimate, 3:30. Excited about that game.
Yeah, but it's going to be 49-42, right?
Well, I want to see if somebody's more for real than the other, okay? I mean, two top 20 teams. One's number 6 in the country.
Touchdown Cowboys.
There you go. Mississippi State, Georgia's good. We both agree on that. I think Washington, Colorado might be okay.
Oof.
No, okay, maybe not real good. No, not very good. All right. All right, I'm still looking here. Florida, Kentucky is a good game.
That's interesting.
Florida, Kentucky is an interesting game.
The same way that Florida, Tennessee was a good game. You're just
right.
kind of
You got to watch. You train wreckish.
Maybe chuckle a little bit as you watch and say, "Ooh,
man,
Kentucky."
Struggling." Right? Yeah. There's that. And then of course we get our game. We get Florida State and NC State. So that. So maybe five.
See, I'm happy that this is the week that I'll be in transit because I'm leaving Tallahassee at 5 o'clock on Saturday evening, going up to Minnesota to cover the Bucs and Vikings on Sunday, which would be a cool experience. First NFL game I'll have covered. But, if this was, let's say 2 weeks ago when the primetime slate was 4 games strong, I would have been hurt. My feelings would have been truly
That would have
hurt.
been really, really bad. Yeah. The slate was something special, yeah.
I do have Wi-Fi and DirecTV on my second flight, but, it's just you want to be in front of several televisions a couple of weeks ago. This week, I think you'll flip to a few games and then probably stick with one.
I think that's correct. I think that Florida State, NC State will set the mood. If the Noles come out and play well, you'll relax. You'll take it on over to whatever your watering hole is afterwards with your friends that are making their way into town. Some people need an escape. They need a reason to be distracted after what's happened here. And if the Noles do the right thing and get a big win, I do believe we're going to get a collective exhale from the Florida State fan base that is sorely needed. And I'm not trying to, again, equate a win in a football game to the kind of relief that some people need in the state in the aftermath of the storm. I understand that. But I'm with them in this sense. I am ready, we all are, to watch this game play out for more than the reason that I love football and I've missed football. And unfortunately, there's been a lot of stress in between the last football game and this football game. Again, with what's happened with the storms and all of that and the power outages and everything that we've had to deal with, but throughout the state, I should say. But I'm actually just interested in what should my expectation be moving forward from Florida State. I'm one of the few guys, I think, at least that I've heard say, Look, guys, I'm not so sure that the expectations should drop significantly after the loss of DeAndre Francois against Alabama. I like DeAndre Francois. I'm not one of the guys who a year ago bashed him for his inconsistencies from an accuracy standpoint. He did have them, but I'm also aware he played really hurt last year. And I think that lent itself to the problems he had in accuracy. So I was willing to give him more of a pass than some of my comrades. I also felt like Florida State's offensive line last year was a real problem. So between injuries and the offensive line issues, first year as a starter, I thought, okay, but, and there's always a but, ... he did have deficiencies in his game, some of which he couldn't overcome. One of those is height. Another one of those is intermediate passes. He struggles to throw the ball accurately, which puts him in a bad situation. Offense in a bad situation. Saw too many second and longs on throws that could have been made on first down, which led to what? Opportunities to create pressure on the quarterback. And what's the other problem he has? He holds the ball too long. I don't know if it's because he can't see over the line of scrimmage. I don't know if it's just a combination of that and his willingness to take a hit, which is admirable, but not necessarily something you look for. I think there are elements of this passing game, quite frankly, if not this Saturday, within a few weeks, are going to improve because of the switch at quarterback. People take that as a shot at a kid who's injured, and I don't mean it to be. I just think that you're going to be able to do some things because you have more arm talent coming in at quarterback, even though he's a freshman, than the one going out. And I think that's why Jimbo is hinting at some of his excitement about the passing game, even with a true freshman. And I'm eager to see what that looks like. Now, it could very well be. In game number 1, he gets overwhelmed by a good defense, and maybe he doesn't show those flashes of brilliance that I'm hoping to see and that everybody's hoping to hang their hat on moving forward. That way they could believe 10-2 is possible, division title is possible, ACC championship is possible. You want a reason to believe that all the expectations you had before the season began are still in play. And you haven't played football in 3 weeks, and it's hard to know that. I'm with you. But that's what surrounds this game. That's the intrigue here. I like us to win the game, especially because our defense is going to carry the day. But I want to see how much I should believe that basically James Blackman is going to help us in the passing game to a greater extent than a lot of people think he would going into the season, certainly before the loss of DeAndre Francois.
Well, I think given his arsenal, the quick game will get better because he can get the football out in space quickly. So let's say you want to get it to Nooney Murray a yard or two in front of the line of scrimmage and see if he can make a guy miss and go. You want to run the bubble game a little bit. I think he can get the ball out quickly. Obviously, if you look at his tape and you look at what we could from warm-ups, open practice,
little things,
any little thing you can find. He likes to get the ball down the field, and he's got good talent to accurately throw the ball way down the field and at least change the eye level of the defense. I think there's no doubt those two things will be there, and they'll be a big part of what James Blackman can do. The question is the choices he's making. How many choices is he allowed to make himself?
But don't you also think that sometimes, it's one of our complaints, Jimbo doesn't want to pare down. Jimbo doesn't want to change anything about running his offense. I'm not one of those people who thinks he necessarily needs to do that. I hear that claim incessantly, but I think that you run your offense. I got you. But he may have to do some things that benefit the offense here. The simplistic nature of this when you have better athletes might be the right choice.
I really thought we were going to run a simpler attack this year anyway. I really did.
That may be. Maybe. Now you have to.
Yes, now you have to.
Yeah.
Based upon what I saw in the open and then what we could see from when the offense was on the field and the special teams didn't put us behind the 8 ball against Alabama, it looked like we were playing a lot of matchup football, which is great. And this is a quarterback who obviously has the arsenal of weapons on top of his arsenal that he has in his arm to play matchup football. You've got size on the edges, you've got size down the middle, and you've got somebody with wiggle in Nooney Murray who can make a guy miss.
Catch radius with big receivers and a big tight end.
Well, and I don't think it's worth overlooking somebody like George Campbell in this circumstance, too. If you recall, when E.J. Manuel came in and he started...
they had a rapport.
He had a rapport with Rodney Smith, and they were working together on Team 2 for much of the season. I get you, it's only part of camp, but I think there is something that comes with that. A quarterback tends to like his guys, and whoever, James Blackman's guy may be, you might see a little bit more of that receiver.
So maybe Terry's going to be out on the
Right.
field because that's who it is.
Tamori and Terry.
Yeah.
That would be really nice.
That would be really cool to see. And then you'd have to pair that on the offense.
Well, yeah, for Terry, absolutely.
Well, because, again, anybody who's been here for such a short period of time.
But the way Jimbo talks about him, it sounds like he's going to be calling complex concepts. If
more intrigue.
If the kid asks the right questions, if, as Jimbo said, he can take a concept that Jimbo offers him on Tuesday and on Wednesday regurgitate it to coach before he ever asks him again, well, maybe you have a quick learner. My whole thing is if he makes a wrong choice, which he's going to make a bunch of them.
Fisher's got to let that go and move on. Yeah.
Fisher's got to let that go, but then he can't make the same wrong choice again.
Well, I suspect again that he that doesn't sound like something they're too worried about. The quick learner part, ball just makes sense to him. Can call the game the way we want to call the game. These are all hints that they're not going to really have to do that. Again, I think either way, what we're talking about is an overreaction Monday. There's a part of me that believes we're going to come in here and Florida State's going to have won this game 45-17, and the kid's going to have put up pretty good numbers, and we're going to be inclined to say, look what we got here, folks. I'm telling you. And then they're going to put a hurting on Wake, who's actually better than we thought they would be before the season began. But anyhow, he'll put up numbers against them too, and all of a sudden we're going to be flying high. I actually kind of think that's how this thing's going to play out. But if it doesn't, if it goes the other way, if it begins to unravel, and, well, God forbid Florida State loses the game, but even if they narrowly win the game and we escape some boneheaded decisions by a freshman quarterback that put us in a tight bind, people are going to overreact to that too. See, gosh, you're struggling at home against NC State. Well, how do you have any chance against the likes of Miami and Louisville and Clemson and Florida on the road, et cetera? No, it'll be overreaction Monday regardless, I think. But that's okay because at least we'll have something of merit to talk about.
Well, yes, and that would be nice. The number one thing I'm looking for is not necessarily what he has in arm talent. I think we already know that. I think it's the way he either is allowed to check the different plays or protections, how he does that. Is it the offensive line that's going to take that responsibility? Is it Eberle that's going to call out the mic? And if they're going to have different
Eberle,
checks
who called Blackman special and had an it factor.
Well, okay, and maybe
Just saying.
The it factor is after the snap, he sees things and he makes plays happen. Maybe he's a gamer, and that's a little bit different than a cerebral quarterback. There are a lot of cerebral quarterbacks who don't have natural gifts and talent. It's hard to know. But the other thing I really want to see, and especially given that NC State has a really good front seven, what's his pocket presence like? Does he have the eyes in the back of his head? We all know those quarterbacks when we see them.
Yeah, the clock in your head.
They climb the pocket when they need to. They shift left. They shift right. They get their feet underneath them, and the ball is out.
All things that actually playing a football game will help reveal.
Oh, yes.
No longer just trusting press conferences from an exasperated coach who has decided that he is done. He is done answering questions. He is shutting it down. No player availability. I got it, though. I got it. What the hell else can you do? I mean, I'm actually not one complaining right now because, again, I'm not one of the media members traveling over from Jacksonville who gets screwed. I'm a guy who's here who doesn't need access to players to be able to do my job, so it doesn't bother me. But I'm pretty sure the media is pretty perturbed. You like that? I'm tired too of being able to, not get access to guys. But I get it from Jimbo's standpoint. How many ways can we evaluate a non-game? It hasn't happened. I mean, how many more questions about today's practice do you want to get?
Well, yeah, he said that yesterday when there was a lull in questions. I think the
presser, guys, what do you want me to do?
The presser only went about 17, 18 minutes, and usually those things can go a good half an hour.
Yeah.
And, he's got film to review. That's part of it, too. But he said it's a little bit different, a little bit more boring when there's not a game going on, huh?
Oh, he said it?
There was another. Then Ira asked him a question finally, but it's true. I mean, it's boring when there's not a game going on. The Alabama game can only teach you so much. We only had so many possessions. We know special teams sucks. Is it going to get better?
Yeah.
Hopefully, but I don't know. I got to see it.
And it just serves to inflame sort of the frustrations of Coach Fisher when some of the questions are the same questions just reworded because people need to fill. And I don't blame them. They've got to get quotes, but you could just see everybody's just staring at each other. It's sort of like the meme, or the GIF, just to Kermit the Frog
and Christian Bale
just staring at each other, nodding their.
That Clemson Louisville game was interesting.
That's
what they're doing.
They're just.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
You put your mower through a lot. All that back and forth can add up to thousands of miles. That's like mowing cross country. Gravely commercial mowers are built for all-day performance, helping you get the job done mile after mile. Gravely, built to mow the distance.
Get your Gravely motor only at TNT Supercenter, your one-stop shop for work or play. 14585 Highway 19 South, Thomasville, Georgia. TNTSupercenter.com.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck, always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Brought to you only by Tallahassee's #1 sports station.
Hi, I'm Travis Kelly, account executive here at 97.9 ESPN Radio. Call me at 561-8400 right now to find out more about the Triple Play advertising campaign and begin growing your business. It's football season. Everybody's listening. Call me, Travis Kelly, at 561-8400 to partner your business with Tallahassee Sports Monster.
Barry knows cool. He's keeping you comfortable. Barry knows cool. You can put him to the test.
Don't let Tallahassee's hot summers get you down. Verano Heating and Air Conditioning can help in case of a breakdown, day or night. Their certified technicians can get you up and running in no time. Turn to the experts at Carrier and at Verano Heating and Air. Call 580-4029 or visit VeranoAC.com. Florida license number CAC 057652.
Football season is in full swing, and so is AAA One Transmission. AAA One Transmission is locally owned and operated by Tim Pridgett, who's been servicing the Tallahassee area for over 37 years. Brakes, transmissions, electrical systems, tune-ups, and battery checks. No matter what ails your vehicle, AAA One Transmission can make your automobile healthy again. Don't put off your auto repairs. Stop it at 1023 North Monroe Street or call them at 222-2532.
Beef O'Brady's 2 for $20. The only hard part is choosing. First, pick a starter to share. Then pick 2 entrees like grilled shrimp and a steak bowl. All for $20. Beef O'Brady's, where 2 for $20 gets you plenty.
I give to you easy laundry service from my friends at Wash Around the Clock. Oh, buddy, this is a game changer. If you're like me, your life is hectic. Between work, school, your kids' sporting events and activities, well, it leaves you precious little time to kick back and take a load off. About the last thing you want to do is hours of laundry, but there it sits, staring at you, taunting. No more. That's right. More watching, less washing. Save hours of valuable time when you sign up not doing laundry with easy laundry service from Wash Around the Clock. Whether it's dry cleaning or just plain laundry, Wash Around the Clock's easy laundry service will pick up and deliver at your home or office. So sign up for free today at easylaundry.net, or you can give them a call, 850-597-9007. Again, sign up today at easylaundry.net. Oh, and by the way, I got you. Use promo code JCS20 and save 20%. That's promo code JCS20. You're saving 20% on your first order. That's easylaundry.net from Wash Around the Clock.
Broadcasting live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios. This is 97.9 ESPN Radio, WTSM, Woodville, Thomasville, Tallahassee.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi. This is what you need to know. Giants quarterback Eli Manning publicly called out by his coach Ben McAdoo following the Monday Night Football loss to the Lions. McAdoo said New York's comeback was derailed by sloppy quarterback play near the goal line in the third quarter. One day after Cowboys coach Jason Garrett said he'll meet with running back Ezekiel Elliott to discuss his lack of effort in 2 plays in Sunday's loss. Owner Jerry Jones did not single out Elliott. Jones on 105.3 The Fan in Dallas said he thought you can point to Elliott, but you need to look at the general effort of most people on the field. NBA, the Bulls hired former coach Doug Collins as a senior advisor of basketball operations.
Experience why for nearly a century men have trusted Barbasol for a close, comfortable shave. Whether it's extra moisturizing with vitamin E or soothing aloe, all you have to do is sit back and bask in the glory of your close shave. You're looking good, America. You're shaving with Barbasol.
Live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Lawn Maintenance Tuesday, presented by Miller's Tree Service. Call Miller's today at 894-TREE. That's 894-8733.
Hour number 2, Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. Thanks for tuning to it. I'm Jeff, that's Tom. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you get to listen live via the streaming free. Always miss nothing, but hey, if you do, I understand it happens. You're busy. Go find it. All 3 hours of the program get posted upon the conclusion of the show every day, both on iTunes and in our own audio vault. You can always email the program if you like. It's JCS at 979, ESPNradio.com. Find me on Twitter at Jay Cameron Show. That's the WTSM app as well that you can utilize. And watch us on YouTube if you so choose. Hello, YouTubers. So I figured this would happen pretty soon. I'll get to it momentarily. First, I'll touch on Florida State football. But in a moment, I do want to touch on I was counting down the days until we got a lengthy article about why the NFL is becoming largely unwatchable. And it's happened. There's 2 such articles today. One's in the Ringer, which notes that teams just refuse to throw the ball down the field. Everything is a short route, safe, and they'll slog their way down the field, and guys are completing 70-something% of their passes, and they don't have to be any good at all, and it's unwatchable. And we'll see if that continues. It's so early in the year that we usually watch these sort of knee-jerk reactions, but people were complaining at the end of last year that the NFL was terrible. The weird thing is, it doesn't seem to matter because the ratings aren't hurt. You get a lot of people complaining about what they are watching. Oh, they're watching. They're complaining about it, but they're definitely watching.
Yeah, and in droves, especially as you get towards November, December, and in the playoff season when, you're just going to watch the playoff games. You're going to watch divisional weekend, which is, the better, I think it's the best of all weekends. Wild card weekend's a little weak. And then, obviously, Championship Sunday is really fun. The Super Bowl is social events, so that's always going to get great ratings. But the thing is, I'm glad that I'm a fan of Tampa Bay because Tampa Bay doesn't throw the ball and check it down every single play. They play an exciting brand of football.
Quote, unquote. And this is something you and I have been talking about, and I'm glad that Chris Sims, of all people, is making my point, making your point, and the point of those people who look to guys who like to get the ball down the field like Aaron Rodgers, like Jameis Winston, dare I say, and others. If you show me a team with great completion percentages, I automatically assume your offense sucks. Exactly. Exactly. I agree with him.
So what you're saying is Sam Bradford last year completed over 71% of his passes.
Not any good. Not any good at all. I've said something similar about Alex, who can be good, but yes, check down Charlie's. Boy, they'll complete a high percentage of passes. Marcus Mariota and others can really check it down to Delaney Walker and other guys. 6, 7 yards downfield. Good on you. That's a fine completion percentage you got there.
I don't know, 6, 7 yards downfield. You might be pushing it a
little bit right there.
It's a 4-yard button hook, buddy.
Florida State, NC State, high noon, and I'm more intrigued by this game as the hours go by, and it has nothing to do with, hey, what's NC State, but rather what is James Blackman, and what is this represent as a great first test, because you're facing a defense that's going to shut down the run. If you try to run traditionally against NC State, they're not having it. Even teams that can really run the ball don't run the ball against them. And last year, about the halfway point of the season, when you go back and look at the numbers, teams just stopped trying. What they did was they lined up and they threw the football. They got the ball into their quarterback's hands quickly, and that sufficed. That supplemented the running game. And then from there, if they forced you to come up, NC State come up, they hit them over the top. I don't know about you, Tom. That sounds like a perfect recipe for a young quarterback because you want him to throw on first down. You want him to throw quick passes, get the ball out of his hands, try to get it to an electrifying player like Nooney Murray. Maybe he makes a guy miss, and it turns into a big play. NC State's going to decide at some point we got to take that away. And then you turn to James Blackman's strength, which is throwing the ball down the football field. To me, I think it sets up wonderfully.
Yeah, it does. And if you recall last year, too, it wasn't until late in the game, really late in the game, that Dalvin Cook finally started to find a rhythm.
Yeah, it's hard to run on them. And he still didn't run for a ton of yards.
To the point where Jimbo was calling trick plays, a reverse pass, Jaquez Patrick throwing a pass.
And that was with Dalvin freaking Cook.
That's with Dalvin Cook in the backfield. But, our complaint on Monday was that once Dalvin found the rhythm and you score a touchdown late in that game, it was in the fourth quarter, then all of a sudden you're falling in love. Third quarter, you're falling in love with DeAndre Francois' arm in the drive, the one that ends up winning the game. He actually throws a pick in the end zone. Kid drops it, and then you drop one in the bucket to DeAndre's left, and that's your game-winning score when he got his 9th life. But to me, I'm really buoyed by this offensive line, and that's the matchup I want to see is can we run the ball halfway effectively against a defensive front that traditionally you cannot run it against after seeing what I saw against Alabama. You put number 3 in the backfield, Cam Akers. What can you do? And it might take James Blackman proving that he can throw the football early on because they're going to stack against the run. But there's no doubt, if you're just looking as you are from the quarterback standpoint,
I think it sets up.
It sets up for his strengths, which is prove it, go over the top, and then set up some runs.
It'll be interesting to see Jimbo, the play caller, in a game like this where, honestly, I do think what you're set up for is little success on the ground early. I believe that's true. I feel like that's going to be a problem for Florida State in this game, even with what I am buoyed by, which is the offensive line performance against Alabama. I agree with you on that. I think they can have more success than we saw against Alabama, obviously. And obviously, I also believe, as we noted yesterday, that if you're going to make a run at it, then you don't do it with Jaquez Patrick. You do it with Cam Akers. And you do it with Amir Rasul. Really like to see Amir Rasul this weekend.
Might be the unicorn, Amir Rasul. We'll see if he gets into the rotation.
Sweet Jesus, right?
But again, I get it. Alabama was going to win its fair share of battles if we decided to run the ball and make that the primary function of our offense. It's just with Cam in there, Florida State won its fair share of battles. There were only about 4 or 5 of them, but Florida State won 2 or 3 of those, and you thought, well, okay, if they can open up a hole for just a split second, the kid's going to hit it, and he's going to hit it right now.
He's going to run like a man.
Yes.
Which is what I was asking my giant-sized back to do. Something of note here, we talk a lot about NC State's defense. Understandably, the advanced metrics for them show them to be a top 15 defense against the run. They weren't as good against the pass. More importantly, the back end had to replace 3 guys in that secondary. Now, they got a senior back there as well, but they had to replace 3 guys, and 2 of those guys are really talented safeties. So it's kind of interesting when you start talking about throwing the ball over the top. The defense on the whole returns 8 starters. So all of the front 7 basically returns. Those guys are all good, senior laden. Big guys, too. If you go through the list of guys, Bradley Chubb and B.J. Hill and Darian Rosebarrow and Justin Jones and Contavious Street, good player, and other guys, senior, junior, senior, linebacker, junior, senior. It's all these guys that have played, and they've made plays. But again, top 30 defense last year. Advanced Stats had them as a top 10 run defense. Over the top, where they have to replace people, is where people have had some success. I have a sneaking suspicion that the game is close for a half. As we start to figure it out, it's sort of a boxing match. You're jabbing, you're testing areas here and there, but while you're trying to protect your quarterback. That's the problem when you don't have an experienced quarterback and you don't know what's going on mentally with him, between the ears, what's happening from an emotional standpoint. Is the game quick? All those things. But as Jimbo gets a feel and then starts letting it happen, I think there are plays to be made in the passing game here that Blackman actually helps you make just by virtue of having the hand talent, the height to see the play develop, the overall passing motion to maybe do something in some areas that DeAndre Francois could not.
Yeah, I think this game was more dangerous if we were in the flow of the regular season and the schedule as it was originally laid out, because you'd be coming off of the Miami game, which would be your second really high energy,
Right, emotionally.
physical, emotionally charged games in 3 weeks. And truthfully, in the span of 21 days, you'd be playing, Alabama, Miami, and then this physical front seven for NC State. So NC State would kind of get the drop on you because they played the game against South Carolina. They lost that game. But then in between then and now, all they've been able to do is install for us, prepare for us. That's kind of mitigated because we haven't played football at all. However, we are breaking in a brand new quarterback. So there's a lot of uncertainty. We talked about it last week, how there's just going to be a series of hypothetical shows until we actually see what the quarterback looks like. But I think all things considered, even with starting quarterback going down, I think you're facing NC State in a better context of the schedule than you were if it was originally laid out for the 12 games as we saw them originally.
For reasons that I'll allude to later, over under 65,000 for the game on Saturday.
Ooh, I think the Tallahassee walk-up will have to be
Pretty big,
considerable.
right?
Yeah.
Pretty big.
I think it's a good number. I think this is also a number you'll have to judge with your eyes because the reported attendance
the
will
reported
be over.
attendance going to be better, yeah. 65, I think, is a good number I threw out there, buddy.
The students do show up, and that helps these days. I'm going to go slightly under, though. That's rough. That's a good number.
Well, and the stadium's smaller than it used to be, too, with what they've added, so maybe that's not as good a number. 63.5. That's a dicey number. That's a good one.
I think that's the number. I just think that's the actual number.
And it mentioned NFL football a moment ago. Did you watch the game last night? Yep. I did. I think two things. I think the Giants are going to have a long year. They look poorly coached, I might add. And I also think that Eli's got some issues. By the way, I'm not one of the guys that throws around that coaches are bad or good or one of those things nearly as much as I used to. I usually kind of fall back on, they're missing elements of their team that they're not going to be able to get around. But they do some dumb things, and they mismanage situations. Some of that's on Eli. He said so himself down there on the goal line. You got to get the ball snapped, man. It's kind of, it's on the quarterback in that situation. But I'm more impressed with the fact that the Lions they won that game 24-10. But think about this. The Lions are doing things that we haven't seen. Just a heads up for you sporting guys or gals out there. You and I talked about this game beforehand. We wanted to see a couple things from the Lions over time. And they're better on the offensive line, so they're running the ball better. They're not great. By the way, you talk about impotence on the ground over the years. I couldn't believe I saw the Lions, who went 9-7 a year ago, kind of lucked into a 9-7 record a year ago. Do you know their leading rusher had less than 400 yards rushing last year?
It feels that way, but yes.
First time since 1984 that a playoff team had a leading rusher of less than 400 yards. What are we? 400 yards? I dare say that Mr. Sims with Tampa Bay, who I'm not a fan of, would have more than 400 yards rushing if we gave him as a feature.
Mr. Sims.
It's awful. Yes.
You're out of order, Mr. Sims.
Great line.
You are a fumbler.
I will say this. The Lions are better on special teams. They're better in the red zone. Stafford's checking down in times where he needs to. Now, I want him pressing the ball down the field. They're better on special teams than they were. Lions, I got you. I'm looking at you a little bit.
They're an above-average team.
They are.
It's funny. I walked away from that game saying they're poorly coached because I get it that they wanted to establish a ground game. But there were a couple of key situations, one of which was in the second half before the punt return. It was, a two-score game. They got 17 points on the board. And they're sticking with the run, and they end up getting in a 1st and 30 situation. It's clear that the offensive line against the Giants' defensive front's good.
It's pretty good, yeah.
They weren't handling their business in that moment, and they were open. Those intermediate throws were open all day long if Stafford wanted to operate at that level. And they kept on calling runs. And I get it. The Lions are trying to do something. They're trying to build something.
They got to, man. It's a mentality. And they didn't feel threatened by the Giants' offense.
But that's the thing. It's clearly they were working on something because they did not feel threatened.
Which is also the form of disrespect that's got to be tough to swallow if you're a Giants fan. The Lions are disrespecting you in your place.
But to me, you got to go and finish the game, go win the game, get your 24th point, and then get to work. There's still plenty of time on the clock. 10, 11 minutes still in that game before they return the punt for a touchdown. It's just I thought they were the 8-8 team that may go 10-6 this year. That's what the Lions look like to me, and maybe in a year or two.
But I think it's worth it for them to continue to work on that run game because they are doing other things better than they were before. And in doing that, maybe you establish a mentality that's been lacking and been the biggest reason for their inability to sustain success over long periods of time. They won a football game last night on the road in which their quarterback, who's known as a gunslinger, threw for less than 125 yards. That's got to be a positive thing. I would look at that and go, all right, well, we know he's not going to do that every week, but there was no way in the past they could win with that. None.
Yeah, I just think the Giants may be that bad that it's not that impressive of a win.
Too. No, listen, I'm not jumping up and down saying all hail the Lions. I'm saying the Lions won a game in a way they normally can't win a game. They didn't ask Stafford to throw for 500 empty yards and then come down to a field goal or something.
Yeah,
you know?
After the first quarter and a half, he really didn't take too many shots down the field.
Not at all.
But he was firing the ball down the field on quite a few occasions, and they came up, I think, just with one of them. But Abdullah, I mean, you can see why people love him, why he's a fantasy, question mark every year. People say, well, what the hell is wrong with Amir Abdullah? Why isn't he more successful? Because when he's in the open field, the burst is elite, his vision's elite, but it's just he never has any blocking in front of him. It does look like they're better in that area.
They are better.
I just think that might be a game where two really average to bad teams were playing each other.
Well, if the Giants keep running Flowers out there out of the University of Miami, right? That's that bum. I think it is. What a fat ass sorry loser he is.
Jeez.
It's an embarrassment
That's
to
brutal.
watch. Oh, go watch him. He's an embarrassment to football players. It's a shame. They should kick his ass off the team. That was abuse. Like, they could have called the cops.
I get they're pros, and you could be a little more harsh.
No,
but
I'm not worried about his
good
feelings.
Lord.
He's a punk. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4790 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
You can tell a lot about a tractor by its warranty. That's why Mahindra makes the toughest tractors on earth. With steel, not plastic. Backed by the industry's best limited powertrain warranty, period. Not 5 years, not 6 years, but a full 7 years on select models. No wonder the other guys are green with envy.
No money down, 0% interest, and no payments until July. Available at TNT Supercenter.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck. Always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Today, located in the center of Tallahassee, Urban Food Market, proud to serve Pepsi.
No fans, ESPN Tallahassee's official home for FSU watch parties in 2017 is Miller's Ale House on Appalachia Parkway.
Francois to throw for the end zone. It is caught. Touchdown. Seminoles are going for the win.
The ESPN Tallahassee team will be on hand for every Seminole away football game with giveaways, a chance to win some great prizes, and to have a good time.
To the pylon. He's into the end zone for an FSU touchdown.
So, when the Noles hit the road, join us at Miller's Ale House on the Parkway, the official FSU watch party headquarters of your home of the best in Seminole sports talk. 97.9 ESPN Radio, Tallahassee Sports Authority.
When you're hiring, you want qualified candidates fast, and it can be hard to know where to find them. More than 3 million businesses use Indeed.com, the world's #1 job site. Whether you need entry-level or highly skilled employees, Indeed helps you find great talent and make the right hire. Indeed is offering new users a $50 credit to give their first job post premium visibility as a sponsored job. Redeem this offer at Indeed.com/promo. That's Indeed.com/promo. Terms, conditions, and quality standards apply.
As a small business owner, you're always on the go. So how can you make sure you never miss a customer's call? Grasshopper. With Grasshopper, you get all the features of a business phone system. That's right, Grasshopper turns your cell phone into a business phone system that's affordable and incredibly easy to use. Get a toll-free or vanity phone number that's memorable and professional. Customers are forwarded to your phone and connected to you or your team wherever you are. And with our app, your outgoing calls and texts show up as your professional phone number. We'll transcribe your voicemails and send them to your email so you can determine their importance at a glance. So whether you're always on the go or working from home and need to keep business calls separate, or you simply want a professional tone, Grasshopper makes it happen. Set up your account in just minutes. There are no long-term contracts and support is 24/7. Get your calls, stay connected, thrive. Now get $20 off your plan when you visit grasshopper.com/radio. grasshopper.com/radio.
Proof Brewing Company and For the Table Hospitality present the 5th annual Florida Tap Invitational, September 29th and 30th. This 2-day event features a block party Friday and a beer festival on Saturday. VIP and general admission tickets are available at FloridaTapInvitational.com.
Middle Street Service, we go out on a limb for you.
Hey, this is Clay Culpepper with Miller's Tree Service. Summertime is here and storm season is right around the corner. We offer free consultations with a certified arborist where we meet with you and advise you on which trees are healthy, diseased, dead, or ones that may need trimming or even removal.
Middle Street Service, we go out on a limb for you.
Give us a call at 894-TREE.
You're locked in with the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Great seats still remain for the Florida State-NC State contest. Struggling with the marketing efforts at Florida State University as you can still get a lot of seats. Oh, I kid. They're not laughing at that joke. But, you know, the noon kickoff and then the whole matter of hurricane and everything, you know.
Recovery for most of the state.
I got you.
Doubt most people don't want to drop a 2-night minimum here, you know, after all the hotels they've had to stay at.
I can't tell you, this is unscientific on my part, but knowing a thing or two about this sort of thing in terms of if you own property and you rent it out for people to come in and go to games and all that, you're having to lower your rates because if what you were doing was using the average of the hotel costs for the weekend in Tallahassee to set your price for the condo that you might own, that, by the way, Tom, has come down considerably because those minimums are no longer the $350 and $375 and $400 that some were. I was seeing $190, $200. They're trying to entice people having a difficult time.
Well, I mean, I can understand it, though.
Yeah.
Again, the other thing is it's just you don't know that you have to go to the game anymore because you've had 3 weeks off, and you're like, well, you know, at this point, I could just wait a couple of weeks.
Because the next game is you wait a couple weeks is the Miami game. Yeah. Put all your eggs in that basket.
Right.
Whereas, you know what's – well, sorry, no. What's going to happen here, Tom, we talk about this every year because it is an interesting subject just as what's going to happen with consumer decisions and the cutting of the cord and all that other stuff brings about frequent conversations about how the landscape of sports television is going to look and sports marketing and sports consumption and ticket sales and attendance is going to look. I just don't see a way where we're going to get to a place where people don't just decide, you know what, I'm buying Miami for this season. I'll give you the year. I'm buying Miami, I'm buying Louisville, and I'm buying NC State, and I'm calling it a day. I'm not going to any of the other games. I'm not going to Syracuse. I don't care. I'm not going to, whatever. Pick another game. You know, I mean, Delaware State. I'm not going.
Yeah, November gets really hurt.
Yeah. I mean, I just feel like that people will start buying those 3-game packages, 4-game packages type things. They're not buying all those other games.
Well, you can just buy tickets on the secondary market. Little secret here. Again, you know, this is not what they want to hear over there, but damn it, man. If you're a consumer and you don't want to buy the full season ticket package, you come up for the game or two that you want to go to. You wait around the stadium. If you really don't care all that much, you wait till kickoff or the final moments before kickoff. You get a ridiculously reduced ticket price and you go. I mean, it's really easy. And again, the way the schedule was laid out, the home openers usually they get a bump by themselves, and it would be in the flow of post-Alabama game. And I don't know how much Frenchie's injury would have really affected things there. Perhaps it would have been to the point where there are only 50, 60,000 people in the stands. You lost to Alabama, you lost your starting quarterback. But typically the first home game of the season
right.
by itself gets a big bump. Then you get Miami, and if you won that game, which we likely were going to do and we likely will still do in a couple weeks' time, then people are feeling good about themselves. They'll come back for the NC State game because you won the big Miami game. Let's come back next week. Let's go watch it again. Now it's Alabama, loss, quarterback out. Boy, wow, my Saturdays are wide open. I got a lot of other things I can get done here. If you're not doing serious stuff in the southern part of the state, you're saying, well, you know what? I'll just wait till October, and then I'll go to Miami.
And it won't be 105.
I'll come back 2 weeks later for Louisville, and then I'm done for the year. I'll go to Gainesville, or I'll travel up to Clemson or something like that.
Yeah. I just, again, the future attendance of football games across the country is something that intrigues me in general. I mean, I'll just give it away. I was in Costco over the weekend, and that's like a once-a-month trip that we'll make in there. I love it. They don't give us any money, but I love that place. I could get lost in there. It's like being at Best Buy. You just go wandering around like, oh, I want that. You can't help yourself. Man, you can get 85-inch televisions with the right deal going on for, a couple grand. And they're amazing. Have you seen the new ones? So here's the thing. I know you just bought a television. What was that, 2 years ago?
No,
year and a half ago?
Not even in March.
Was it in March?
Yeah.
Feels like it was ages ago.
I mean, a lot
television.
has happened since March, but I bought it in March, yeah.
In March?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Really?
I'm on month 6 of paying off the 2 years.
I feel like you bought that TV almost 2.5 years ago. I think we're thinking of a different TV. Anyhow, so the funny thing is, I was just looking at televisions over the weekend, like I said, because I can't help myself. Man, I've got a nice television, but it's dog crap compared to these new televisions. It's insane. The televisions look better than our real-life viewing experience. Like what you're watching on the TV is better than that of your world. It doesn't make any sense. Like, I want to live in the world that looks like the TV. It's crazy. I mean, that's how far we've come. I don't know. It's 100 degrees. It's humid. I'm sitting next to a stranger, or I've got an 85-inch glorious futuramic view of the world of football from the seat of my house.
Yeah, man. I got it's a 60-inch, 1080, 240, refresh rate. And I got a sound bar with it, and it was $950 out the door.
I remember that. It just felt like ages ago.
I mean, in some ways it is, in some ways it's not. But yeah, I'm only on month 6 or 7 of paying that puppy off.
It's amazing to me. All right, funny story here as an aside. So the story in baseball this year is the home run. You and I have had this conversation. Did you realize that this record-setting run of home runs is all thanks in part to almost every team around the league, save for the Giants? This is a record-setting season in Major League Baseball, and it cracks me up. But here you go. The Giants have not been part of the offensive turn of the tide in which success happens frequently for most teams, even the worst one in all of baseball. Last season, there were 111 players who hit 20 home runs or more. The Giants had 0. 111 players. The Giants had none. Not one dude hit 20 home runs for the Giants.
Wow.
There are 108 players this year with 20 or more home runs. So 111 last year, Tom. Giants had 0. 108 this year, and that number might get up to 111, 112, 113 because there's a few very close, right?
Mm-hmm.
Giants have 0. Back-to-back years. J.D. Martinez has hit 24 home runs since joining the Diamondbacks, which is twice as many as any one of the Giants' active roster has all season, save for Brandon Crawford, who has 13. Martinez joined the Diamondbacks 57 days ago. Oh! These are remarkable numbers. Now, you can go through and look at the ballpark, and the Giants have hit 43 home runs at AT&T Park this season. The Yankees have hit 38 home runs at Yankee Stadium this season from the players named Aaron. That's awesome. But yes, park factors are an issue, but it's not the only thing. You can go through and look. They bring up the fact that there are several road players who have hit 8 or more home runs at the Giants ballpark.
Oh, my God. This is their penance for winning 3 in 6 years.
I was just about to say, I hope my dad is listening to this segment, who used to moan and groan forever and a day about how the Giants couldn't win anything. And I hope while I'm still on this earth, he used to say it all the time, I see the Giants win a World Series title. He had no sympathy for me and my Pirates or anything like it. Didn't want to hear from anybody else's team and all the problems they've had.
Oh, man. Those are fighting words. And you'll say that on Friday at the 7th when we're up there for our live broadcast, and that will start a 10-minute debate between you and your dad. And I can't wait for that.
Well, I'm going to bring up these statistics. He'll say, well, Jeff, that's what happens when you win 3 World Series titles and you're in a transitional stage. And, this is what, and he's right to say that. That's what I would say. I'd say, well, we just exhausted all of our home runs during our championship runs, Jeff. I'm so sorry. I would bring that up too. But that is crazy. And this article goes on and on. If you'd like to read it, you can look it up. Grant Brisbee is the author of the article, and it's about the ineptitude of the San Francisco Giants. And it's a good thing they play in a glorious ballpark, I might add.
Well, sure. Which one? I mean, what are the biggest notes among any team in sports where it's always brought up and the fans of that fan base must just dread it every time? For example, saying, the Bucs never returned a kickoff for a touchdown for all those years.
Well, and the temperature they couldn't win in, right?
Sure.
It was under 30 degrees,
correct.
Whatever it was, right?
For the Padres still, but for the Mets forever, it was no-hitters
in
the history.
Right.
And Nolan Ryan
no-hitters or perfect games?
No-hitters.
No-hitters.
No,
yeah.
0.
Mm-hmm.
And Nolan Ryan had 6 or whatever, and he was on the team in the 60s, and Tom Seaver had 1 when he left.
And that's why you guys decided, I'll blow a career. I'll ruin a career for this no-hitter today.
And that was the right call. With the Knowles, a 1,000-yard rusher, not since Warwick Dunn, and then that was obliterated, which is great. But there are those that are out there, and
they just go on and on.
For the Giants, it's an impotent number. You can't have one player hit 20 freaking home runs,
which when everybody on every team is like a multitude of players on really bad teams who don't hit a lot of home runs. That when you've got 2 or 3 guys on said team with 21, 20, 22. And the Giants back-to-back years can't get one guy to hit 20 home runs. I know home runs aren't everything, but they are frequent throughout the league. It's just bizarre. Curtis Granderson has how many home runs?
Well, he hit 4 or 5 right out the gate when he started with the Dodgers, right?
Right, but the reason I bring it up is before you guys told him to have a good day and used him as trade bait, he had gotten hot. And he had started to hit home runs. And what I remember most about that was that first month of the season, it was him and, Jose Reyes hitting like a cool 0.55 or something. I mean, they couldn't get a hit.
Yeah, but Grandy was going to come around. Reyes is, apparently
actually Reyes is really hot now, yes.
But Grandy always does. He just sucks in April.
But I mean, if you're counting on him to help you win a game that could be the difference between a division title or not in April, you're screwed because he's useless.
Sure. Thankfully, you don't have to do that. Thankfully, the division titles are on the line. 24 home runs this season for Grandy.
And he was terrible. What's he hitting? 215?
He's hitting about 210.
Okay.
215, yeah. 210, 215.
So my man will run into 24.
He will.
He's hitting
He'll find a way.
Thanks for the 210, Curtis. And that's still better from a power standpoint than anybody's got for the Giants. Man.
Yeah, 207. There it is.
Oh, my goodness. He's hitting a cool 207.
With 24 dongs.
It's all or nothing with that, dude. I'll just say this, too, though. You know what? Those 24 dongs will get him signed to another deal. They'll largely ignore the cool 207. So there it is, Giants. I had to do it. Everyone hits home runs but you. That's all I wanted to say. All-time home run record. Back-to-back years. Potentially. Well, this year is going to be broken for sure. There were 2 offensive statistics a year ago that broke all-time records. No thanks to the Giants whatsoever in either year. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
You can tell a lot about a tractor by its warranty. That's why Mahindra makes the toughest tractors on earth. With steel, not plastic. Backed by the industry's best limited powertrain warranty, period. Not 5 years, not 6 years, but a full 7 years on select models. No wonder the other guys are green with envy.
No money down, 0% interest, and no payments until July. Available at TNT Supercenter.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck, always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Your skin. It could be the save of a lifetime. Go to spotskincancer.org to find out how. A message from the American Academy of Dermatology.
Football season is here, and it's time to score big and get in on the action with MyBookie.ag. MyBookie is an industry-leading website and the best place for you to cash in on all the insane last-minute drives, huge upsets, and heart-pounding finishes. Join now, and MyBookie will match your deposit with up to a 100% bonus. They have in-game live betting on nearly every sporting event, plus a user-friendly mobile site so you never miss a single play. Are you sick and tired of getting the runaround when you ask for a payout? Come join MyBookie today today. With decades of expertise, no hassle payouts, and no fine print, you'll experience the greatest customer service in the business, guaranteed. Use promo code RADIO to activate your bonus of up to 100%. Call 844-900-2387 or visit mybookie.ag to open an account. That's 844-900-BETS or go online to mybookie.ag and use promo code RADIO. Win with the best only at MyBookie. Sign up today.
Oh no! My lunch has been ravaged by ants.
Go to Bandito's Burritos.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi. This is what you need to know. Giants quarterback Eli Manning publicly called out by his coach Ben McAdoo following the Monday Night Football loss to the Lions. McAdoo said New York's comeback was derailed by sloppy quarterback play near the goal line in the third quarter. One day after Cowboys coach Jason Garrett said he'll meet with running back Ezekiel Elliott to discuss his lack of effort in 2 plays in Sunday's loss. Owner Jerry Jones did not single out Elliott. Jones on 105.3 The Fan in Dallas said he thought you can point to Elliott, but you need to look at the general effort of most people on the field. NBA, the Bulls hired former coach Doug Collins as a senior advisor of basketball operations.
Experience why for nearly a century men have trusted Barbasol for a close, comfortable shave. Whether it's extra moisturizing with vitamin E or soothing aloe, all you have to do is sit back and bask in the glory of your close shave. You're looking good, America. You're shaving with Barbasol.
Live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Lawn Maintenance Tuesday, presented by Miller's Tree Service. Call Miller's today at 894-TREE. That's 894-8733.
You know, it's funny today, by the way. Article written, I just now noticed on CBS Sports. A topic that we've brought up on numerous occasions. But somebody said it, as they should. Time for Dan Mullen to plan an exit from Starkville is the title of the article. I went, well, yeah, several years ago, we brought it up with Mr. Edwards. Brad came on the show, obviously, before the Alabama game, and we were talking about the season to come and the offseason that was. And I did say, are you surprised that Dan Mullen's still there? And on the one hand, I didn't think, and this has nothing to do with nothing, but it's just the world of college football, and that's the crux of this show, certainly in season. I didn't think he'd be given an opportunity, or I didn't think the opportunity existed, for him to have a revival of the success to the same degree that he's already had. So the fact that it's come back around to where now, again, he's popular because they just stomped LSU 37-7 and look good doing it. And because the landscape of the SEC has changed to the place now where basically Nick Saban has run every coach in that conference out. If you look at Nick Saban's time at Alabama, every coach has been fired. Or they've all been told to have a good day, Les Miles being the last. So Dan's the only one. Mullen's survived the Saban era.
Yeah, I think it's 34 coaches, 34 different hires have been made, according to Chris Lowe a couple of days on ESPN.
Yeah. So Mullen has kind of shown, hey, I'm still pretty good over here at sorry-ass Mississippi State.
Oh, we were talking about it back in 2011, when Urban had the heart problem and he had to leave Florida suddenly at the end of the 2010 season. We thought, well, that would be a neat fit because there's continuity in the offensive scheme. And how long ago was that? We were all pointing fingers at Adazio, saying it was Adazio's fault because Urban finally hired a loser of an offensive coordinator. But then little did we know that years later, Adazio would blossom into this wonderful thing.
A peach of a man.
Yes.
Not only that, by the way, it was 2014 that Mississippi State was ranked number 1 for 5 weeks. And you thought, if ever you're going to parlay that into something, it was 3 years ago. Dan, it's time. I mean, you can't keep pulling the magic act in Mississippi State. I don't know where you're going to go, but anywhere the hell up out of there would be a good idea.
I would think, though, it's not a Ferencz situation here. I would think that Dan has built up enough equity.
Definitely not a Ferencz situation.
He's built up enough equity that, if they went 6-6, 7-5 the next 3 or 4 years, he would still be a really hot commodity for a big-time Power 5 job, given what he's already done.
He's been to 7 straight bowls. You're right. That would be certainly – at Mississippi State, there's job security in that, and there's less pressure. Now, you're in the SEC. You got to win. But you go to 7 straight – you go to bowl games every year at Mississippi State.
Well, that's what Brad said. They understand their role. They understand their place. But then again, really? They're playing Georgia this week, and that's supposedly a top 20 matchup. Would you be stunned if Mississippi State wins that game against a true freshman quarterback?
No. They're not as talented as Georgia, but you're right. That is a factor. It would be interesting to see if it happens. Think about this. Mississippi State just went from unranked to 17th in the country. Now, I think that's giving them a lot of credit for beating LSU, and maybe LSU's not any good. When LSU hired Ed Orgeron, and it's his first year there as a head coach, but we know what Ed Orgeron is. I thought, man, that's just not real fun. If I'm an LSU person, I don't feel like that's taking us to the next level. I don't feel like we're getting back to where we're competing with Alabama because of Ed Orgeron. I don't feel like that we did anything to equip ourselves for the long run. In fact, if you ask LSU people now, it would have been nice to hire, Dan Mullen as your head coach. I think they'd say yes, right?
Yeah, well, it's why did we make a change if this is going to be what we're changing to? Is this really an upgrade? I get it. A voice grows cold in the hallways in the locker room after some years. But if this is the replacement that we're going to have, why even make the change in the first place? Because I would bet, personally, from the outside, that Les Miles would do a much better job recruiting over the next 5 years if you kept him in the fold with what he does. Yeah, you still hit the ceiling, and it's not a glass ceiling. It's a stone ceiling where Nick Saban's going to reign over you, but you know what? You're still right there on the doorstep.
Well, like we say, when you're going to bowl games every year, that's about the best you can hope for, and you're right. He's not going to outclass the best teams in the country on a regular basis at Mississippi State. In fact, he's 6-25 against ranked teams. So it's not like they steady beat ranked teams. They don't. But he wins the games he's supposed to win. Occasionally pulls off a win like this the other night. This was actually the most resounding sort of, whoa, what do we got going on here? That's impressive. He also makes $4.5 million. He is one of the more well-compensated coaches in the country for a guy that's never won the division.
You think that gets pretty far in Starkville?
Yeah, I think he... Nice house?
Maybe.
You think he does okay in Starkville, Mississippi?
The real estate. If you're getting 4.5 at USC versus 4.5 in Starkville, what do you think?
No, I think so. I think you're right. Let's cue it up. Let's do a What's on Tap.
Ready for a cold one?
Sure.
Proof Brewing Company in Railroad Square Art Park presents What's on Tap. So, Jeff, what'll it be?
Well, we're actually kind of doing a combo What's on Tap as well as Beer 30 because of today's weird scheduling in that normally, it's a 3-hour show till 6, but at 5, I step aside and then I step back in for Seminole Headlines. And So we're kind of combining the two. First of all, we'd like to thank our friends at Proof Brewing Company, of course, for coming on board to sponsor What's on Tap. Proof Brewing Company and For the Table Hospitality present the 5th Annual Florida Tap Invitational, September 29th and 30th. One of North Florida's largest 2-day beer festivals. VIP and general admission tickets are available online. Just go to FloridaTapInvitational.com. Well, that would be the Man Cave show at the other place there, Tom. There you go. I'll let you cue it up for that if you want.
Count them up, pour them out.
I'll just have a cup of coffee.
There it is. It's Beer 30, brought to you by the 7th Hill Tap Room on Appalachia Parkway.
Yeah, it's Kick the Keg Tuesday, right? And the Man Cave show.
That's correct. So $3 select drafts tonight when you're trying to kill the keg. You could also get your $10 7th Hill Tap Room Cup Club Cup. For the love of all things holy, buy this thing already. It pays for itself. After the Man Cave, well, hell, the Man Cave show starts at 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock sharp.
So at the beginning of the Man Cave show, if you pay $10 for your Cup Club Cup, you're getting $1 off of all drafts until the close of business tonight. Tomorrow, 7 to close. Saturday all day for college football.
Boom.
There it is, man.
It's what you do. It's right underneath the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. You can always find the newest and freshest Florida craft beer there. So that's a good thing.
Yeah. Perhaps you get some Proof Brewing products. You can fill it on up.
Delicious. And then from there, you know what you'll do? Maybe watch a little baseball tonight, Tom. Why don't we cue up the probables, buddy?
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Is that
little
where we're
probables.
going?
That's where we're
my
going here,
goodness,
buddy. You
all
didn't
the
know?
Sounders.
I got it. Here it comes. Let's do it.
it's time for, how you say, with the pitching, probables?
There you go. A little upbeat number. Just gonna let it play for a second. Red Sox, Orioles, Drew Pomeranz, and Kevin Gausman. Dodgers, Phillies, Yu Darvish, Aaron Noah. Brewers, Pirates, Chase Anderson, Trevor Williams.
Speaking of brewery, you could get some Proof Brewery products at the 7th Hill Tap
We're
Room.
all in. We're whoring ourselves out in the final segment across the board. But for a good reason.
Those are good brewers.
Those are good brewers. A lot better than the Milwaukee variety. Minnesota and the Yankees. Big game. Watch that tonight, maybe. Jose Barrios against CeCe Sabathia's fat ass.
Yeah, all right.
There we go. Royals, Blue Jays. TBA versus Marcus Stroman. Cubs, Rays. Mike Montgomery, Chris Archer. Let's go, Chris Archer. Ding-ding. Mets, Marlins. Seth Lugo. Despaigne is going to go for the Marlins.
Chris Archer has an email.
A's, Tigers, Daniel Gossett, Chad Bell. Cardinals, Reds, Jack Flaherty. Only Flaherty. Jackson Stevens. There's like two people that know the reference I just made. Nationals, Braves, Max Scherzer. Luis Gohara. I like saying his name. White Sox, Astros, Lucas Giolito and Colin McHugh. Oh, it's an all-name matchup.
All right.
Yeah, hey, Colin. Started for the first time since September the 8th. Are you speaking? Indians, Angels, Mike Clevenger, Tyler Skaggs. Huge slate of games tonight. D-backs, Padres, Zach Godley, Travis Wood. Rangers, Mariners, Martin Perez, Mike Leake. Rockies, Giants, Herman Marquez, and Johnny Cueto. And that is a look at those that shall reside on the map. Are you tuning into baseball at all ever anymore? Are you watching anything? Your lady friend, special lady friend's a huge Twins fan, and they're playing well, so I would think you're tuning in to some Twins games.
Yeah, we're monitoring the Twins. She's watching them more closely than I am, but admittedly,
it's a Tuesday night.
It's the 19th of September, too, if
It's
not
time.
now, when?
Yeah, it's time. I can go all in on that Twins train, baby. I'm in. Who the hell? I mean, I got nobody.
Sure.
Come on, Twins.
Exactly.
Win it all.
Well, I mean, they're going to play in a one-off anyway, so there you go. You get that special one-off night. That'll be fun.
I just, I got no reason to root for anybody else that'll be making the postseason. There's nobody else there that I care about, and who's got anything against the Twins? Like, I think very few people hate the Twins.
On the Man Cave show tonight, we're doing the meme contest with the Pennywise from It.
Yeah.
Did you see the submission from young Matthew on Twitter?
No.
It was with the Meyer children. You know,
Which is nice, yes.
It says, "Hey, little Meyer, your daddy Urban's down here." I'm sure there's a Urban Meyer's family is somebody who follows us.
Retweet that.
Yeah,
he should retweet that. Yeah. By the way, the Twins are 78 and 72, 5-5 in their last 10, which sounds about right. 15 games back at Cleveland, as would anybody be right about now. But wouldn't it just be funny if they made the playoffs, won the whole thing? I mean, they're the worst of the playoff teams.
The run differential's been absurd all year long.
Yeah, they're not very good, but they
play great defense
when they hit home runs.
And they hit home runs.
They hit home runs incessantly.
I mean, they'll get beat 12-2 now.
But those will be two dongs.
But then they will win.
Two big old dongs is what those will be.
2 out of 3, 4-3 decisions on Saturday, Sunday. They take 2 out of 3, and you say
4 dongs there too. That's all they do. Dongs galore.
You remember when the Nationals scored 2 runs on the Mets a year ago, and they took 2 out of 3?
Oh yeah, for the series.
They scored 2 runs for the series.
1-0. Yeah, and they won it. Yeah.
Beat them like 5-0 the next night.
How about baseball?
Oh, it's just
man, it's great. It's
special.
Like winning 98 games and playing in the wild card game. Tom, imagine that.
Whoever did that.
Let's go, Twins. Hit some dongs. Good work out of you. Good work out of you too, Matthew. Man Cave Show starts at 7. Some of the headlines next. Stay tuned.